Hey, Shalom Akim. First and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, all right, who deserve double honors. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there on the highways and byways, pushing his truth in all honesty and sincerity, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect, all right. This is Nama with the DC camp. And here again, all right, and I was a victim of this growing up in the Mid-South. It's called the Lost Cause Doctrine, all right? The Lost Cause Doctrine in relation to cognitive dissonance, all right? So let's go look up what cognitive dissonance is first. Let's see. All right. All right, here we go. It says, cognitive dissonance happens when people hold conflicting beliefs, learn the effects of, well, let's get a more in-depth. Let's see, here it goes. Wikipedia, cognitive dissonance. In the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance is the perception of contradictory information and the mental toll of it. Relevant items of information include a person's actions, feelings, ideas, beliefs, values, and things in the environment. Cognitive dissonance is typically experienced as psychological stress when persons participate in an action that goes against one or more of those things. So here we are, especially with what we've been doing, you know, from the apostles and their teachers before them on down to current present day, all right, and it's causing people stress, you know, and this is what we're supposed to do. This goes into what? More scripture. Let's go to this is what a prophet does, all right, 2 Corinthians 10 and 4. Now, it says, Paul defends his ministry. Verse 4, it says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We don't need guns and tanks and warheads and all that stuff. Just words. These are not our words, all right? These come from on high, all right? It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua to the pulling down of strongholds. And what are those strongholds? Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach Yahushua, the Father and the Son. All right? All right. So, like I said, this is his program. So, what they did, well, we're going to get into it. I'm not going to jump ahead. And it says, while the lost cause doctrine may be practiced by some individuals out of a genuine sense of Southern pride and heritage, it's ultimately a flawed doctrine that is supported by cognitive dissonance. Now, we just read what cognitive dissonance, all right? It says, the lost cause doctrine is a controversial belief that arose in the aftermath of the American Civil War. It asserts that the Confederacy's cause was just and that the South was not responsible for the war. See, these things are intertwined with us because this directly involved us as a people, all right? And they didn't want to cope with the fact that, hey, you know, we lost our livelihood, you know, the Negroes are gone, and they sided with our enemy in the North, and so we got to save face. And that's all, I just summed it up in a nutshell, all right? It says cognitive dissonance is the psychological phenomenon in which individuals hold two or more conflicting beliefs, straight word for word what I read out of Wikipedia, right? Beliefs or values, and experience discomfort as a result. In order to reduce this discomfort, individuals may engage in various psychological defense mechanisms, such as rationalization and denial, in order to maintain their belief system. These Edomites, these so-called white people, are experts at that. And outwardly, you would never know whether it affects them or not. you're dealing with the wicked, remember. You're also dealing when it comes to, hey, I'm not a professional at this, but you learn the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. All right, we are dealing with a nation of psychopaths. So let's get the scripture supporting that. Let's go to, the odd thing is with a psychopath as opposed to a sociopath, I think sociopath is what the music industry, and we know who's over that, who runs and owns that, what they did, that's one of these tactics of theirs, turning Jake against Jake. All right, so here they are, and you can use not only music, but Hollywood in general. Coming back after the civil rights so-called movement, then you had this era of blaxploitation movies. And what did that do with Jake? See, Esau, these Edomites are expert. You gotta understand, they've had the opportunity to study us like no other. All right. So what they've done, this goes back to Edomite / white supremacy. They don't have to do the hard work like they used to. All right. So what they've done, they've raised and created, I should say, amongst Jake, a bunch of sociopaths, your drug dealers, pimps, and things, you know, pieces of shit that our people seem to envy. All right. And that's scriptural when you understand what Acts 3rd chapter, verse 13 goes into, which is a condensed version of what happened in Matthew 27 chapter. You know, when Pontius Pilate asked our people, what do you want to do with Yahweh Shai? What did they say? We want Barabbas, a piece of shit. All right. And you wonder why we're going through the things we're going through now. This, like it says in Ecclesiastes 1:9, you know, nothing is new under the sun. All right. So here they are. They create these animals amongst us. Again, they don't have to do the heavy lifting. All right. That's one of the tactics. They'll promote this, what's this called? It's all about Jake. They'll put Jake out there, you know, look at this. Look at this mansion. Look at these Lamborghinis and Ferraris. And look how your movie stars that are so-called black and that. He'll put Jake in the forefront. This is aimed, all right, it's a psychological ploy. It's a tactic to where, you know, the regular Jake is like, damn, if all these people are successful, what's wrong with me? Maybe it's something like this. And you'll create, now, what is that Jake gonna do? All right, you start that ball rolling rather. Damn, I gotta do something. Keep up with the Joneses. So now he'll start slinging and getting into, see, it's that these motherfuckers are woo, you don't, motherfuckers just don't get it. Psalms 58, all right, the Most High who judges the earth. I'll start at 2. It says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked, which the Edomites, the descendants of Jacob's brother Esau, who a lot of them are, well, not a lot of them, but the ones who really run the nation of Edom, those Amalekites, the ones that took our land pretending to be us, so-called Jews. All right, ye in heart, ye work, yea, in heart, ye work wickedness, ye weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And for those of you that quite haven't bothered to notice the difference between a Jake baby and an Edomite child, and the stark contrast, a lot of you are not going to see it because you're not spiritual. All right, it's a whole 2 totally different spirits. All right, this is them. All right, that's what they do. These are the lies All right. They have no problems with it. Jake's neighborhoods, and this is something that's done on purpose too. Jake's neighborhoods are left in disrepair. You know, it's a spirit that comes with that, or that goes with that rather. All right. Now Jake's feeling, you know, noticing his surroundings in disarray, such as they are. What do you think is going to happen with his spirit? See, we're being attacked from all sides. I just thought I'd throw that in there. It says the lost cause doctrine. So you think these motherfuckers ain't going to pay? The lost cause doctrine provides a convenient and attractive justification for those who wish to defend the Confederacy and reframes the Civil War as a just and honorable war. Another way to look at this, what they like to do is romanticize it. Hey, gone with the wind. You know, and that perfect example, you know. However, the reality is that the Confederacy fought a war to preserve slavery. All right. A deeply unethical and inhumane institution. To claim that the Confederacy's cause was just and that the South was not responsible for the war is to engage in a revisionist history that ignores the clear evidence of the Confederacy's motivations and actions. Yeah. And do I have it? I keep telling people to get this book called How White People Got So Rich. Better get it now. Because when I got it at the end of December, it was $10. I haven't checked as of yet. But it won't be long for it, or they'll take it out of circulation or make some fucking stupid excuse. Anyway, it says Charles Pinckney, a House representative delegate from South Carolina, 1819 through 21. Damn. 200 years ago, I believe that slavery was the only question that could separate the Union. Almost 40 years later, it did, when anti-slavery and Abraham Lincoln won the presidency, which ultimately led to South Carolina being the first states to secede from the Union. All right, and there's some shit about Abraham Lincoln. Fuck Abraham Lincoln. You know, for those that, you know, understand what's going on, he wasn't for our best interests. All right. That was one of those things, well, you know, just using myself as an example, if I know I've got to cut my arm off in order to save my life, guess what's going? All right. But he was trying to save this motherfucker. That's what that was. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about the money. And in another book I have over here, it tells you that even when that Emancipation Proclamation shit was being put together, other senators and stuff, you know, legislators, they knew it was bullshit. All right. So this is just one of these things, another lie that we're taught and we're tricked as a people. We were never free. You gotta understand that. All right. Protecting slavery was South Carolina's justification for leaving the Union. South Carolina feared that Lincoln would end slavery in their Declaration of the Immediate Causes, which induce and justify the secession of South Carolina from the federal union. They reasoned that the slave-free states denounced as sinful the institution of slavery and encouraged and assisted thousands of our slaves to leave their homes. Those who remain have been incited by emissaries, books, and pictures to slave insurrection. Think John Brown, before him, Nat Turner, and there were others. All right. Refusing to accept that fighting to protect slavery necessitates a significant amount of mental gymnastics, as it requires individuals to reconcile their belief in the Confederacy's cause with the knowledge that slavery was a central issue in the Civil War. Even in the Confederate States of America's own Constitution, slavery was established as an undeniable right. Article 1, Section 9 stated that no law denying or impairing the right of property in Negro slaves shall be passed. They also hope to freely expand slavery into new areas. In all such territory, the institution of Negro slavery as it now exists in the Confederate States shall be recognized and protected by Congress and by the territorial government. And the inhabitants of the various Confederate states and territories shall have the right to take to such territory any slaves lawfully held by them in any of the Confederate states. And it's got, in quotations, in parentheses, Britannica.com. For many Southerners, it's hard to reconcile the fact that their ancestors fought for Confederacy, which was a cause that was fundamentally based on the belief that black people were inferior and should be treated as property. So they engage in this distorted and biased view of history. In this case, people who have a deep emotional attachment to their ancestors in the Confederacy may recognize that slavery is morally wrong and engage in this distorted view of history to minimize their discomfort. See, at the end of the day, it's all about them. All right, that's why for those of you who, I don't know, for some reason think that these motherfuckers gonna change, that's why ultimately, you know, hey, that 2/3, you know what's going to happen to them. It was something that happened yesterday. I'm not going to get into, but Jake and his cooning, boy, goodness. Continuing on, this allows people to continue to view their ancestors as heroic figures. Come on, you've always heard it. For those of you that have been around these motherfucking Civil War fanatics, or just Jake in the South as general, you know, idolizing, you know, these motherfuckers, Robert E. Lee, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This allows people to continue to view their ancestors as heroic figures and to view the Confederacy in a positive light, even though it was founded on the principles of slavery. Let me say something else, because there's a belief amongst Jake that the South was better for some reason. No. And then what else you got to consider with the South? Britain's involvement, you know, just waiting in the wings, because they had backed a particular group. I ain't gonna say it, I'll let you, you know, but that's not even taught, all right? It says, as evident in Alexander H. Stevens, Vice President of the Confederacy, Cornerstone speech, he stated that the greatest revolutions in the annals of the world and what they're fighting to protect are that the new Constitution has put to rest forever all the agitating questions relating to our peculiar institution, African slavery as it exists, the proper status of the Negro in our form of civilization, and dismiss the idea of equality of races. And they still hold this attitude. Don't be fooled. I had played a clip, I don't know if I can bring it up real quick, of your president, the one you, Jakes, in your supreme ignorance, voted for, Jim Crow Joe Biden. And he had a Freudian slip. I don't have it prepared, but I will try. Let's see. Where did I save that? I didn't save it, that's a thing. Let's see. Crap. Let's see. Here it is. Let's see if it's still in the nope. I didn't mean
Fox, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
I'm not going to be able to.
What are you doing?
Watch this before it.
I mean, but yeah, I was hoping it was on YouTube because I would have it, you know, but it's crap. Yeah. This Jake, he does these usually TikTok clips, and I believe he's a Republican or whatever have you. But he does things like this, and I was like, you know, he was talking about like the Negro is the cause of the downfall of America. You know, not worded the way I said it, but he said it in while he was, you know, in a speech, and it was like, whoa, calling on the Hispanics, trying to that division, you know, divide and conquer tactic. Dang, I wish I had a thought. I just thought about it. I don't have it. I would have had it saved up, but you know, I have to put you through all that. But in any case, yeah, like I said. And after all, this is the guy that, you know, signed and sponsored all that 3-strike shit during Clinton's first term, you know, and said on the floor of the House that he didn't care how Jake, what caused them to be the way that they are. He just wanted them off the streets. He don't even want his kids around us. This is the person that you have ruling over you now, you know. Anyway, continuing on, it says, no matter how much anyone wants to sanitize, muddy, or somersault the facts, these are the Confederates' own words. The lost cause doctrine allows people to maintain this cognitive dissonance by presenting the Confederacy as a heroic force that was fighting for states' rights rather than for the right to own slaves and expand slavery. See, they never let up on us. You know, and that's going into Isaiah 14th chapter about him ruling with a continual stroke. All right. After we were so-called freed, that's when they started to have their fun. You got to understand, we were no longer considered, I would say, someone's property. All right, so it's like, well, kid gloves are off now. So you have the formation of the Ku Klux Klan terrorizing Jake, you know, and still Jake, irregardless of that, managed to build settlements and towns, you know, trying to be self-sufficient. And what happened? They destroyed him. They destroyed him, letting you know, for those of you that have a brain, you were never meant to succeed here. You know, that's why we bring out scriptures like, you know, Micah 2:10, because you should be focused on something else. This shit is going to be blown to smithereens for, you know, going to 2 Peter 3:10. In fact, now that I said that, let's go there real quick. This is the mindset you should be in. I don't know why this keeps reloading. 2 Peter. I shouldn't have a memory issue. This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. Think about that. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? And as such, verse 12, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. But you got our people want to stay in this bitch. They don't mind constantly having a foot put to their ass, being abused, constantly looked down upon. mistreated in every way that you can think of. I have that book, I keep telling you, How White People Got So Rich. It itemizes how, and this is what I call a book of receipts. Because, it's one thing to say the white man is a devil and all blah, 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 blah. A motherfucker, I've read this article, they tell you they learn how to deal with this shit in their own heads. Their mistreatment of us. You're never ever, Psalms 43:1, you're dealing with let's get that real quick. And you expect justice from a piece of shit like this, 43:1. Whoops, 43:1. All right, it says, judge me, O Most High, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation. Why? Because you're never going to get any justice from an ungodly nation. Oh, deliver me from a deceitful and unjust man. And that's what you're dealing with. This so-called white man is the wicked. If you understand, this is why he looks the way he looks. And also up here, it's the way he was created. There ain't no saving him. It tells you that in Hebrews 12th chapter, verses 16 and 17. There's no chance of repentance for this devil. He was created. He's doing what he's created to do. All right. So all you so-called Christians, all right, you're wasting your damn time. Oh boy. So, let's see. It is important to recognize the truth about the Confederacy and the Civil War, even if it is uncomfortable or difficult. That's another thing these people have. They don't want to hear, they do those mental gymnastics. But, you can tell by how the media chooses to confront. Look at this last thing with these cops in Memphis. Oh, they're having a good time with this. And you notice nothing from the Fraternal Order of Police. It's like they're on vacation on another planet somewhere. This means acknowledging the role of slavery and the importance of the Union's victory in abolishing it. It also means acknowledging the ongoing legacy of racism and discrimination in the United States. Notice it says legacy. All right. It's still going on. All right. They try to play again these little games with you. All right. So that's going to be it on the lost cause doctrine in relation to cognitive dissonance. And I was just watching before I did this video I watched, Epoch Times and NTD and the Larry Elder show. Yeah, that piece of crap there. He had some Jake on there about, he made a comment about, oh, you mean you're not for reparations? A total fucking Sambo. Man, I couldn't even watch it. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be it on this. And once again, a lost cause doctrine in relation to cognitive dissonance. All right. At this time now, that's why I read 2 Peter 3 and 10. Time grows short. For those of you idiots that still don't believe the C-HIP and the MOTB, and it's right in your face, and you either out of jealousy and envy because of Great Millstone, you refuse, all right, to teach your flock, let them know what's going on, what's right in their faces. All right, they're going to get caught up because of your lack of leadership. All right, and then you're going to have some problems. All right. Think of the end of that movie with Richard Pryor, Which Way Is Up? You're going to have those kind of problems with that preacher at the end. Yeah, that's going to be you. So, in any case, with that, once again, call the law Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim Kakwadash. Hey, stay up, stay prayed up, because because time grows really, really short. All right. So with that, shalom.